Yolan True and welcome to another exciting day in our galaxy. And as you can see already on the screen, it's time for another evening officer video. And today I want to talk about Etor. You will remember her as one of the Duras systems, especially from the double episode on Star Trek The Next Generation, when they are fighting for the Klingon Empire, where the Duras family is trying to prevent Gowron from first of all becoming and then staying Chancellor of the Klingon Empire. And so she is quite an interesting figure in the series, although in Star Trek Generations they are not that lucky with their bird of prey there. But nevertheless, she is quite an interesting figure in the game, and she's a rare officer. And as usual, we have a look at class, group, and faction first. She's class Science. And so when you upgrade her, you will need science badges for this. She's the group Pride of Romulus. Why ever? Well, I know there is a hint. They were working with the Romulans to overthrow Gowron, and their family has a history of betraying the Klingon Empire to the Romulans. And she's from the faction Romulan as well because of that. So even the game doesn't recognize them as Klingons anymore because they were so sneaky and betraying that they were quite Romulan in their character. And that means that although she is a Klingon by birth, she needs Romulan credits to be upgraded. It's fun, isn't it? She has a captain's maneuver and an officer ability because it's also a long time that she's in the game, so there were no below deck abilities. So it was clear that she has those two. One is behind the scenes, which fits her character again, and that's the captain's maneuver. When on a ship that can use cloaking, Etor increases the duration the ship can stay cloaked at 20%. And that is a very helpful one, especially now with the second territory season. It makes a lot of sense to use a cloaked ship in territory takeovers or defenses and keep it cloaked as long as you can, because while it's cloaked, it cannot be attacked as long as you don't attack anyone and lose the cloak. As long as it's cloaked, it cannot be attacked and it's collecting points. So having an officer that extends the cloaking time is quite nice. With her, for example, my D4 can stay cloaked in a system in a 1-star takeover for half the whole takeover. So for 15 minutes. And that's, of course, very helpful in the case of collecting points if a lot of people of your alliance can do that. And the officer ability is when on the Amalgam, Etor boosts the Amalgam's bonus loot ship ability by 14%. So, first of all, when you're grinding hostiles, you, of course, used the EXO for the Amalgam. But she also has this, it also has this ability when you're raiding bases. And so keep an eye on Etor when you are in incursions, for example. So she is quite a nice officer. By the way, for those that didn't get that, despite my second channel, I'm from Germany, and in German, for ships we don't use it in German, we also say she, and that's why it's sometimes quite hard to remember not to say she when I'm talking about a ship here. As a rare officer, she obviously has 2 away team traits, and one is deceptive and one is manipulative. Those can be quite helpful if you don't have a lot of muds and something like that. I used her more on the Amalgam, that's why I haven't leveled her up yet, but you might want to use her as an away team officer because deceptive and manipulative are quite helpful there. Especially later in the game when you're not using her in a lot of combat situation or whatever because of her cloaking ability or to boost another officer with synergy. So don't forget that she has quite helpful away team assignment traits when you start not to use her that much anymore. I'm not so in need of her, so that's why I haven't leveled her up, but I might do that in the future. In time, I get some officers maxed over and over, and then at some point I will max her too when I have the trades. But I usually use them when there's the away team battle pass event, because you can quickly do those with those trade experience points within seconds, and so that's why I'm waiting for those events always before I use them. You see, I've got 10,000 at the moment, and I will spend them when the next battle pass event for away team trades is there. If you also use her, for example, in territory takeovers or in other situations, please let me know. You know that I'm always curious what others have to add to my videos and to the content of the videos, of course, and how they use the ships or officers or whatever. And so I'm also interested what you have to say about Etor. I mentioned in another video recently that Luisa, her sister, was so hard to get. I had Etor very early, although she's a rare officer, but Luisa is a common officer, and I just got her, 2 days ago. And so that's the weird part with getting officers here. But if you also have some questions or video requests, please leave a comment as well. You know that I regularly read them and try to answer your questions and fulfill your requests if possible. Or just send you a link like recently again, because the video was already existing. And if you just want to say hi and where you're from, I'm a curious guy and always happy to see where my viewers are coming from. And if you want to see another video right now, YouTube has put another in the end screen here. I'll see you there. I'll be back.